Hi guys, Roxanne, your favorite queen. B. I'm 34 years old today. Today's my birthday. Whoop whoop, whoop whoop. Okay, that was awkward. So, I had posted on Facebook, social media, that I was going to go to start by speaking English, that I was going to go live tonight and do my little 34 facts about myself since I'm 34 years old. And it didn't even dawn on me, though, that even though my other channel, my original channel, Roxanne Tate, I have gone live before. And I knew for that one, the first time you ever go live, you basically got to have a 24-hour period in advance, and then after that 24 hours is up, then they'll let you go live. I guess that's YouTube's way of making sure that you're an honorable source or whatever. And it didn't dawn on me, though, that since I made a new channel, this one now, which is Queen Bee, A Royal Disaster, that the same principle would apply because it's still under me technically. So whatever reason, I went to go live stream just now, and it said, will not be ready for 24 hours. And I was like, oh crap, I wish I'd have thought about that ahead of time. So I'm here recording now, and then I'll just upload it as soon as I finish. So today, January 25th, it's my birthday. Do I feel older? No. Do I look older? Absolutely not. No. So, I mean, I had a good day. I didn't do nothing. I got up, I got dressed, kind of anticipating maybe someone stopping by or something. But no one stopped by, but that's okay too. Let's see. Yesterday was actually a really good day as well because I got. Where is it, by the way? Did I put it up here? Hang on. Hang on a minute. Let me put this down for just a second. No, I don't see it there either. Is it here? Yeah, here it is. Okay, I'm back. So yesterday, Miss Teresa and Matt went and got just a real simple, because I had class yesterday, and so they got and picked up some stuff for me and her and him to have a real small, intimate little lunch together, which I thought was so sweet. Unfortunately, mine and Matt's schedule on Fridays does not coincide for lunch unless I do like a 10 o'clock lunch, which I was not hungry at 10 o'clock in the morning for lunch. So anyways, me and Teresa got to sit down and eat dinner together in her office, lunch. And then later on, after Matt got out, he as well, I went back and I ate again, little snacks. So that was really sweet. Let's see. A dear friend of mine out there at the college gave me a birthday card, and I'll just put it this way. It says, let me see if I can try to get it up here with this glare. To my Roxanne. I thought that was so sweet. And so I'm going to read the card to you. Try to get it up here. Very pretty. And it says, because you see the world as such a positive place, you make it that way too. And it says, that's why it's such a joy to know you and wish you a very happy birthday. And then there was a very sweet personal message in there as well from him. And that just, it don't have to cost nothing. It just was adorably sweet. So thank you. You know who you are. Thank you. I'm trying to think. Oh, okay. And so then I woke up this morning, and of course social media was blowing up because so many people got on there and wished me happy birthday and hoped I had a great day and just everything. And so without going into person by person, thank y'all very much for taking time out of your day to wish me a happy birthday. I appreciate it so much. I definitely felt the love today. And so then, of course, when I first got up this morning, Mom met me. No, let me take this back. I'll start it over. So for the last couple of days, Mom's been saying, someone's got a birthday, And I was like, really, who? And she was like, oh, you know who it is. It's you. She's like, in the morning of your birthday, I'm going to come into your room, which, I sleep right there on the bed. She said, I'm going to jump on the bed, and I'm going to jump on you, and I'm just going to start whooping you for your birthday, first thing in the morning, even before you get out of bed. And I was like, Mom, I wouldn't advise that. And so she's been saying that and kind of picking on me, all week as it's gotten closer day by day. And if anyone's ever met my mom or seen my mom is like this big. She's itty bitty little. And so as of last night, she had already laid down for the night, and so I was down there talking to her. And so before I come up, she's like, I'm going to get you in the morning. And I was like, I'm locking my door. And, joking. And she's like, oh, no, I'll pick the lock. And so it dawned on me all of a sudden. I was like, okay. I said, Mama, you know what? Go right on ahead. Come in there and jump on me and whoop my butt. I said, but come November when it's your birthday, don't you get mad when I do the same thing to you. And I said, and there's a lot more of me to jump on you than you are to jump on me. And she got so tickled. Well, lo and behold, this morning, she didn't jump on the bed this morning to whoop me. She waited until I got out of bed, and she met me up here at the door. As I was coming out, I was taking my medicine before I go downstairs. I always do. And she had the fly swatter, and she sang happy birthday to me while she was beating my butt with the fly swatter. So that was my butt whooping. So I got a butt whooping. Lord knows I probably needed it. And so my grandmother called this morning bright and early, and she sang happy birthday to me. So thank you, Nanny. That was so sweet. Anyone that's in the family knows that that's something you look forward to every year. It don't matter if you're 110, which, well, that's not the case, but whether you're newborn, your first year ever, on up to when you're my age or older, Nanny always, every year, calls all of her grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and her children and sings them happy birthday. So it's just one of them real sweet moments that you just wait for by the phone. You're just waiting for that. And so that was just very sweet. And then I had my Aunt Barbie also sang happy birthday to me today. And then my other aunt, Aunt Anna, she called me and sang happy birthday to me. And let's see. And then Matt called me. Well, actually, he called, but I must have missed his call. I had set the phone down or something, my cell phone. And so when I picked it back up, I'd seen I had a missed call, but it wasn't a number I recognized. Well, it turns out it was his mama's phone. And so I called back because it was a local number, 252 number. And I was like, hello? And they were like, hello? And I was like, someone just tried to call here on this number. How may I help you? And they were like, oh, we were trying to get up with Roxanne, my son was. And I was like, oh, Melody, this is Roxanne. She's like, oh, you sound different on the phone. I said, well, that's fine. She said, well, Matt wants to talk to you and wish you happy birthday. And I was like, okay, we'll put him on. And so he got on the phone and he said, Mom wants me to sing happy birthday to you. So without what do you call it? Without a catch, without a pause, I was like, oh, absolutely, sing happy birthday to me. Because Matt can sing, guys, whether y'all realize it or not. He's got such a good voice. And so he sang happy birthday to me. But he did it in like a deep voice. I can't even I'll try, but I know I can't do justice. He was like, happy birthday to you. But he did it like in a better way than I did. And it made me tear up, just feeling the love from everyone, and of course Matt knows he's my number one. So that was just so heartwarming and touching. And his mama, Miss Melody, she has sent me little things all day today, wishing me happy birthdays and cute little, e-cards and just different things. So I definitely felt the love today. Thank y'all so much for that. And as I had mentioned in my post in anticipation, since I am 34 today, I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of give 34 facts or different things about myself that maybe not everyone knows. Some people might know all of them, or at least close to all of them. Some people might not know more than one or two, and that's fine too. It's a better way for y'all to get to know me, And so I found 34 facts that I thought were kind of entertaining about myself. And so within each and every one of them, I might say a couple things about it or go into detail. And if not, that's fine. I'll just move on to the next one. It's whatever I feel comfortable with at the time, okay? So I got out my handy dandy notebook and I wrote at the top 34 facts / interests / affirmations about myself. I don't think I put any affirmations. Affirmation is a way of saying you are beautiful, you are strong, you are capable, something like that. And I already know I am. I'm the queen. I'm definitely the queen for the day since it's my birthday. So I'm going to start off with number one. Some of them are really funny, kind of weird, and then some of them might be a little bit more deep, and some of them I actually had to scratch off and redo because maybe I didn't necessarily want to go into that particular part of my life right at the moment, especially on my birthday. We'll save that for another video. So, number one. Hang on. Let's see. Hold, please. Okay. So the first one is I am terrified of frogs, clowns, and bridges. Most anyone that knows me personally knows one of these, if not all three of these. Um, I don't know why. I know about one why, but I don't know about the other two. So, frogs, of course, I don't know. I don't know if I'm repressing something or what, but it's just something about them I'm just terrified of. If any of y'all have followed my original page, Roxanne Tate, on YouTube, I think you had seen, and you could even go back and see the video where over this past summer, in the apartment that I live in here, we have a little itty bitty, I call them little bitty green tree frogs, whatever, that had congregated in the doorway of our house at night, when the lights are on or whatever. And so one had jumped on me, and I about had a heart attack, rolling around on the ground, acting like a crazy person, but I can't help it. And then, of course, down in Florida, where I was born and raised, we have them big toads, cane toads, bufo toads, whatever. And it just makes my skin crawl. Clowns. A lot of people are scared of clowns, more so than anything else on my list as far as being afraid of. So, and it don't have to be like a clown with like the makeup drawn on them, like the makeup, clown makeup. It can be even the clown masks that they sell during the Halloween times. And it didn't necessarily come from the movie, It from by Stephen King. I was scared of them before that. It's just something about them and the way they act goofy and I don't like it. And bridges is my last one. Anyone that has ridden with me across the bridge knows I cannot. When I'm going across the bridge, of course, riding because I don't drive. We go across the bridge. This is what I do the whole time. And most of the time, Matt's with me now, and he'll be like, "We're all across the bridge now," and he'll let me know so I can uncover my eyes because I'm terrified. And the only reason I can associate with that is when I was okay, in the last 10-15 years, if you've watched the news any kind of regularly, you see that bridges have collapsed, people have died, fallen to their deaths, all this other kind of stuff, which is scary enough on its own, just watching it from TV. But even before that, when I was a little girl, I used to have one reoccurring nightmare all the time, and in that one nightmare, we'd be going across the bridge, and it's not all bridges in particular. Like if it's like an overpass that you're going over and there's like cement underneath, I'm not as bad with it. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of heights, but I can deal with it as long as I know I'm like safe and secure. But something about having a bridge with water under it just terrifies me. And of course, living and being born and raised in Florida, you have bridges all the time, especially going over towards the ocean. You've got the big bridges that kind of, angle and a curve, and them are the ones that I don't like. If it's just like a straight shot, it's not so bad, but because it goes up and then it kind of goes down, I don't like it. And so anyways, the dream that I would have occur repeatedly, and it was the same exact dream, is we'd be going across the bridge, and right as we get to the top of the bridge, before we make our descent back down, all of a sudden, whether it was just like faulty building of the bridge or just being old or even an earthquake, I don't know, it would start to shake and crumble. And so we, in the car and all, we would go, and so I would be looking at the windshield as we're getting ready to hit the water. And as soon as right before we hit the water and I would supposedly drown and die, I'd wake up every time, and it was the same dream over and over and over and over again. Never different, never changed. It was always the same. Right before we hit the water, I'd wake up every time. So I do not like bridges. I don't know how I'm going to get over my fear of bridges and have to drive to get across the bridge. I don't know. I guess we'll we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So back to my 34 facts. Number 2 is I am a child of adoption. I was adopted at the age of 5, and yes, I remember it quite vividly. So I got taken from my parents, which was my biological father and my stepmother. My biological father had remarried at that time, and so I was staying with my 2 brothers and my stepmother and my biological father. And I never remember them ever doing anything for me as far as like what a parent should do, taking care of your kids, feeding them, tucking them in at night, all that kind of stuff. And I was only 4 at the time, but I remember it. I remember bits and pieces. My oldest brother, I was the third. I was the youngest out of 3. I had 2 older brothers and then myself, so I was the baby and I was the girl. And I always remember my oldest brother, his name was Eric, who my son is named after, was the one that did the best he could. And he was only 9 or 10 or 11 when all this went on. And so anyways, we got taken. And I never made it into the foster care system. I went straight from my house into my new adopted parents' house. So I was very fortunate on that end. And so I don't know exactly how long it was later, but it was a short time later, a month, a couple weeks, something like that. And I guess they were vying for adopting me to make it official, And so we went to court that day. And I remember sitting there next to him, and granted, I already had a week, 2 weeks, even up to a month, I'm not sure how long it was, of living in a stable household where a mom and a dad was there, and they cooked dinner, and they tucked you in at night, and they played with you, and they did everything a parent's supposed to do. So it was completely new to me, but it was wonderful, something I never had before. And so when the judge finally come to their decision, and they made it official that I was adopted, and the judge had slammed down his gavel, when they make a decision, whatever. And I remember I was sitting next to my now parents, and I ran up to the judge and to the lawyer at the time, and I hugged them both. And as a 4-year-old, almost 5, I hugged them and I said, "Thank you so much." And did I know really what I was thanking them for? Yes and no, I definitely was blessed in the department of having a family that took me in and raised me as their own, and put up with all my stuff when I was a teenager. And then it has also, to this day, helped me raise my son, when I got into trouble. And so for that, I'm forever grateful. So I do remember that. Number 3 on my list is I always try to make others smile, even on days when I don't feel like smiling myself. This is something that I hold true every single day. We all have our days. We all have our bad days, when you just feel like the weight of the world's on you. And I always, because I've been there and I know what it's like, I always try to leave someone in a better mood than when they came to me, especially if they're down, even if I don't know them. Like, I am the biggest advocate is if I'm in town or if I'm even walking down the halls at the college and someone looks like they're just, not having a great day or they're struggling or something, I go out of my way to say, "Hey, how you doing today?" And I'll smile at them, and 99% of the time they'll smile back. "Doing good, doing great," and so I'm the biggest advocate about reaching out and just, you never know what a smile can do to change a person's day for the better, or a kind word. "You look nice today. Look at you, girl. You're working that shirt," just anything. Or, "You look so handsome today, look like you're having a good day," just something. I 100% believe in doing that. So next on my list is number 4. And it says, I have a fear of growing old alone. I think we all do, my uncle, who I love dearly, always makes it, has a saying he tells me, and he says, "Roxanne, humans are not meant to be alone. Humans are meant to interact with others as far as having a relationship, And I'll say, "Yeah, I know. I'm not in the right place right now to where I need a relationship. I'm focused on my schooling. I'm almost there. I've got a matter of 14 weeks, and Lord willing, I'll be a graduate. I do not want nothing to mess that up in that time period." And so that is one of my fears, facts about myself, is I do fear of growing old alone. I think anyone that's single for an extended period of time sees that. So we'll move on to that, or from that. And number 5 is I kind of fear that I will end up as the crazy cat lady who owns 47 cats. Yeah, haven't got my starter kit yet. The little miniature kittens in a little box, but let's hope that don't happen. I can't do that. So that one was just kind of funny. I kind of threw it in there. So we're on to number 6, and it is number 6. When I was very young, I used to eat grass. I know, disgusting. So after I was adopted, my mom and dad became foster parents full time. Well, my daddy still worked at another job, but mom was a full time foster parent at that time. So in the state of Florida, you could have up to 5 kids in your house at one time. That I don't know about up here if it's any different in Carolina, but down in Florida that was the rule. I mean, it could have changed since then, either went up or down, but at the time that's what it was. So me, along with 4 other kids, were constantly in the house, and they would come and go. Either they get placed back with their family or move on to another home, but it was constantly, always, anywhere from 3 to 5 of us in there. And so during the summertime, we had to go outside and play. You had to be a kid, you had to go outside and play. Plus, you didn't drive mom crazy all day long, having a house full of kids inside the house, driving her crazy, not letting her do nothing. So we had to go out and play, and I like the taste of grass. Now, as an adult, looking back, I'm thinking, ew, like animals could have defecated on it, they could have urinated on it, someone could have vomited on it. I mean, all the scenarios run through your mind as an adult. But as a kid, I like the taste of grass. Go figure. Okay, so number 7. I told you I was weird, y'all. So number 7 is I have a son. He's 15 years old. His name is Eric, and he's the light of my life. Anyone that knows me knows that I love my son, and everything I do is for him and for my mom, to better them and ultimately better myself, to be able to help better them. Lead by example. We'll get into that too. So, number 8. I am a smoker. I started at the age of 15, peer pressure. I hate that I smoke, and I know I need to stop. We know what's good for us. We know what's bad for us. Hang on a minute. Kept here like I was hearing someone outside my door. It's fine. Probably mom. I think she's doing laundry. So, I know I'm a smoker. I know I need to quit. God knows I do. It's even got to where, even when I get done smoking, I have to go in and wash my hands and then put body spray on, because I cannot stand the smell of smoke. So I know I need to quit. That's usually a good sign that it's time for me to quit. I'm getting there to it. Maybe not that one yet. We are going to move on to number 10. I do not like to sleep with my feet out from under the covers, even in boiling hot weather. I always have that, I don't know, irrational fear that something's going to reach out and grab my toe or bite it, or just, I don't know, weird, something from under the bed, I guess, I don't know. And so even if it's really, really hot and, I don't necessarily want to sleep with a blanket on me, I'll just throw it over my feet. I figure if it's covering my feet, it can't get to my feet then, weird. Okay, so number 11. I think I slept too much through my teen years, so now I'm lucky to get 4+ hours of sleep a night. When I was a teenager, I could sleep 16 hours straight, get up, eat, and go right back to sleep and be fine with it and still be tired and go back to sleep. Now, because of my back issues and stuff, 4 hours, 5 hours, I'm hurting. It's time to get back up and at least move. Even if I move around and get up and move around and kind of get unhinged, because you get stowed up in my back, and then I'll lay back down and go and get some more rest that way. But 4+ hours, that's it. That's all I get. Number 12. I have OCD tendencies, but only when stressed out. The rest of the time, I'm good with just being messy, and this is true. Most of the time, I can go with the flow. I can kind of do whatever. I'm pretty good. I can be messy, and it don't bother me too much. But when I start getting stressed out or anxious or upset, that's when the OCD kicks in, and everything has to be in its spot. And if it's not, I stress out even more. And I don't know. Maybe it's because when I'm anxious or stressed out, I feel like things are out of my control. So therefore, if I can put something that is in my control and do it, it makes me feel better. I don't know. Is anyone else like that out there? Um, I'm on 13. Um, I do not, nor have I ever had a driver's license. Hopefully soon, though. As most of you know now that are in my life at this moment, with me getting to and from the college, I do take public transportation. I thank God for them to be able to get me to and from out there, so I'm not having to depend on like one singular person, you know. But I do not have a driver's license. I had a permit back down in Florida where I took the written test and was fine. And the funny story is Dad had took me down to pick up the little booklet that you're supposed to study before taking the written part of the test, which is on computers now, but it's still they call it the written part. And so I went down there to pick up the book, but when I went to go ask the lady at the desk for a book or where they was, she had said, "Well, Miss Tate, while you're here, because you can have so many tries, I guess, on taking that test in a month or so often." She said, "Why don't you go ahead and go sit down? We're not busy right now, and do the test, and then you can kind of see where you stand at as far as what you need to study." And I said, "Okay, no problem." And so I sat down, I took the test. I can't remember how many questions, and I passed the stupid test on the first try without even using the book. I just can't drive. I'm the opposite of most people. But I was practicing driving and everything with Dad before he got real sick off. But since being up here, I just haven't, and I need to learn to get that independence. And just that's one of my goals before I graduate, or at least soon after, is to get my license, take that next step. So, number 14. I am an emotional eater. I think we all are. Well, I always put people in two categories on the emotional eating part. Some people will get real stressed out and they cannot eat, like their stomachs are in knots, and they cannot seem to keep food down. And then there's other people that they get upset and the first thing they reach for is the food. That's me. Whether I'm happy, oh, let's celebrate, I got an A on my test, or oh, whatever, let's go get something to eat. That's me. Or, oh, I'm sad, I had a really bad day, I'm stressed out, and I reach for the food. I need to find something else to reach for. I'm just one of those people. So we're going to move on. Number 15. I like this one right here. It said, "I am a helpless optimist. I really and truly wish everyone could put their differences aside and just get along." I 100% have the motto of I trust everyone until they give me a reason not to trust them. I think if everyone could put their pettiness aside, we could do so much more for this world and in this world and for each other. And in extreme cases of disasters or natural, bad things that happen in the world, you see it happen in very short, quick increments. Okay, let's take any natural disaster, earthquake, tsunamis, just things that are completely out of our control, hurricanes. When all this stuff happens to large communities or large parts of the world, you all of a sudden see brother and brother get along and come together to put their differences aside to help, reestablish the community, or to get running water, to get all these basic necessities that we need to survive. You see it happen, but then on an everyday scale, people are so caught up in the how can I serve me the best, and why should I worry about you when I should come first. I mean, really and truly, we would be so much better off if we could just put it aside long enough to better it for ourselves. That's another topic entirely. Okay, number 16. This one's a personal one, but I'll say it anyways. I pee a lot, especially when I'm super nervous or anxious. I know it's weird, but it is what it is. Having a baby did not help that situation at all, but yep, I'm a peer. My name is Roxanne. Moving on to number 17. I am constantly giving myself pep talks inside my head. I do this so much. And I'm always curious to know if other people do it. I know myself personally, like right before I have to give up and give a speech or do anything, or if I know I have to do something that maybe puts myself out of my comfort zone, in my head I'm going, you've got this, Roxanne. You've done this before. You know what you're doing. You're good at it. You've got this. I don't know. I talk to myself a lot in my head. I hope it don't show on my face though, like me walking around going, if it does, just, I don't know, give me a thumbs up. Say it's okay, Roxanne. I do it too. Number 18. No, yes, we're on number 18. Ooh. Ain't that what I told everyone how old I am today? I'm 18. No, I'm kidding. So number 18, I fall down a lot, and I mean a lot. I fall down, I fall up the stairs, which takes a lot. I fall over my feet. I'm a very clumsy individual. I remember one time when I was a little girl, and we lived out on the dairy where my daddy worked. And I was still in elementary school, so I was maybe 8, 9 years old, something like that, maybe a little bit younger. And Mom was doing spring cleaning or doing something in the house, and she had just got done sweeping and mopping the floor, and then she'd also put wax on the floor. You'd make it real pretty and shiny. And she had the fans running, and she had told all of us kids, do not go in the kitchen. You will get hurt. It's wet. I've got wax. It's got to dry, so do not go into that kitchen. I didn't listen. I ran into the kitchen, and I guess I hit the wax, and I went sliding. And I must have picked up speed is the only thing I could think of. It's because I hit the cabinets that are on the bottom, underneath the sink where you have cabinets, like the cupboards. And apparently the doorknobs where you pull the cabinets open were strategically placed to where I hit my eyes. And I blacked both of my eyes out. Yep, so I've given myself black eyes multiple times. Not just then, but other times too. And I'm just a very clumsy individual. And my son gets it honest. Bless his heart. And I don't know. I'm just clumsy. Number 19. Whenever I'm watching a music video or a movie, I always envision myself playing the lead role instead of the actual actress playing it. I have a fantastic imagination. I do that even to this day. I think that's one thing that I admire so much about my generation growing up. My generation was the very first generation that had like computers in the classrooms. Well, actually, they weren't even in the classroom. They were actually in a computer lab that we went to, so many times a week we practiced on. But we had floppy disks. We were like first generation computers as far as for the public to use. And so before then, we had to go outside and play. Saturday mornings, we're getting up early to eat cereal and watch cartoons. That was like awesome. And also, I did a lot of reading, and because of that, I have a fantastic imagination. So I create different scenarios in my head. I can picture myself up on stage, like getting a standing ovation to like a crowd of like 100,000, fans that are screaming my name. Just all kinds of stuff. Like I envision so much for myself, and Lord willing, maybe we'll get it to happen one day. Number 20, which ties into the one I just was talking about. It says, I have always been a bookworm. I love to read. Unfortunately, I don't make enough time now for myself to read for fun. Before we moved up here to Carolina from Florida, I had a humongous book collection. I had probably 4,000 books. I had a ton of them, and I had to downsize dramatically on account of we were moving from our house into, at the time, we didn't know if it was going to be another house or an apartment or what the size of the rooms were going to be, so we had to downsize a lot on the furniture and stuff, and book-wise, I couldn't devote a whole room to books. Unfortunately, we just didn't have the room for it, or we knew we wasn't sure what we were getting into space-wise, so we had to downsize. Since then, I know like my favorite author of all time is V.C. Andrews. I absolutely love her. So anytime y'all find any V.C. Andrews books and they're not very expensive, pick them up for me. I would love it. So that is number 20. We're trucking now, ain't we, guys? So 21. I've never been married, not even close. That ties into being scared or being alone. But at the same time, I'm not going to settle for less than what I deserve. And because I think so highly of myself now, but not in a conceited way, I'm not settling for just anybody just because I'm lonely or just because I feel like I need somebody. Because I don't need nobody relationship wise. Um, we'll leave it there. 22, my favorite foods are pizza, Chinese food, and asparagus. Maybe not necessarily in that order or in that combination all at once, but yes, I love pizza. I love Chinese food. I hardly ever get Chinese food. Matt, you're still supposed to take me out. We're supposed to go get some Chinese food together. And asparagus is probably my very favorite, most favorite. Oh God, that is not even. I'm graduating soon with a college degree, and I am talking horrible. But yes, out of all the vegetables out there, asparagus is probably my favorite, and it is also probably what I get the very least. If I am lucky, I will get it once or twice a year, and that's very rare that I do get it. And I love it. I don't necessarily like the canned stuff because it's all smushy and nasty, but I like fresh asparagus, like cooked, so good. Um, I always joke about my weight, which I know, whatever. It is what it is. I'm working on it. But I always joke and say, yeah, my body was made by pizza. It's full of dough. I'm not fat, just really doughy because it's pizza fed. Haha, joke, awkward, whatever. Um, Number 23, I truly love music no matter what mood I'm in, whether it's happy, sad, hurting, depressed. I can always find a song that really gets me through it. Um, I do think music is probably one of the best things that has ever been invented by people, for people. I can listen to just about anything, any genre. I am more keen to, I like country, old country, like the 90s, early 2000s, even some of the 80s country, the older stuff, because that's what I grew up on, so that's what I'm familiar with. But I do like some of the new stuff as well. I also, during my teenage years, I got into like the whole punk rock and all that kind of stuff, heavy metal. So there's even some things that I like there as well. But once again, I have to be in a mood for it. I like rap, certain ones, not necessarily the ones that degrade women and talk about, what they want to do with you and stuff, because I just, whatever. Music is ever evolving and always changing, but you can judge a time period by its music. Does that make sense? I've heard a saying somewhere that goes something like that, like you can judge a community by its music, or something to that effect, or whatever. But yeah, I love music. Definitely love music. Number 24, I have never had a pedicure before. And I know growing up in Florida, we were always barefoot, unless you were in school and you had to wear shoes, or you had a job and you had to wear shoes. But besides that, I was barefoot constantly. And so by being barefoot all the time, you probably build up a really heavy, thick calluses on your feet, which probably don't make them the prettiest. I understand that. But since moving up here to Carolina, I never go barefoot except in my house because of such the cold temperatures up here during the winter time, and then also during the summertime. It's a different type of hot up here in Carolina than it is down in Florida. It's more humid. It feels like it's roasting you up here, whereas down in Florida, because you have the oceans on both sides of you, there's always like a breeze going. I mean, you still have your hot days, but it's a different kind of heat up here. And so like your feet would get blistered if you went out here on the concrete in the summertime. But yeah, I've had my manicures before, but I've never had a pedicure. So I'm very sensitive about my feet as far as they're ugly. Like, I don't want to show them. I want to wear flip-flops sometimes, but I'm so self-conscious about my feet that I won't wear sandals because I don't want people to, I guess, make fun of me, or whatever. So, even I'm the queen, has insecurities about herself, and my feet are one of them. So I'm saving y'all from showing you my feet. Number 25. Oh, since moving to Carolina, I have always cut my own hair at home. I cannot see spending $20 on something I can do myself. So that is something I have done since being up here, and finances are different than when they was when we were down in Florida. We went from a 2 to 3 income family down to a 1 income family, with me not working because I'm going to school. And, we don't have daddy, and mama's not working no more either. So, times get tough. And one way I was able to, for myself, consolidate is to cut my own hair. And lo and behold, what do we always do when we want to learn something nowadays? I cracked open a book. No, I did not. I got on YouTube here and I Googled and found videos on how to cut hair. And I went through a lot of them before I found out one that works for me. And, occasionally I mess up, but for the most part, I think I do a pretty good job. I even put layers in my hair, so 1 point for me. Anyways, a little awkward. 26. I have become a cheap person. I will like something and pick it up only to look at the price tag and put it back down and decide I don't need it. But when I say I'm a cheap person, I don't mean that in general. Like, I'm not some of them people that are on TV that are like the cheapest family in the world. Like, they will cook spaghetti sauce or cook food, and if their family doesn't eat it all, they put it back in the containers. That's not me. That's not what I do. What I mean by being a cheap person is like, when it comes to myself, I'm cheap, I guess is what it is. I feel guilty for buying something for myself or spending money on myself, to the point where mom gets mad at me for doing it. She's like, don't do, if you do it and you put that back, then you put back what I got as well, because I'm not doing it. And I'm like, Mom, but I don't mind spending money on you, and I don't mind spending money on Eric, when I get it, but I don't want to spend it on myself. And so it's a struggle there. Mom constantly is watching me at the checkout, because I'm the worst for putting it in the buggy, and then by the time I've made it up to the register, I've done changed my mind, so I'm like putting it over to the side, trying to slickly put it over there. So Mom's got on to me now. She'll watch and she'll be like, don't you put that back, I'm watching you. So that's what I mean by I'm a cheap person, is I guess I'm a cheap person towards myself, doing something, and I cannot stand to pay full price for something, especially clothes. Like, it hurts my heart to pay $20 for a pair of jeans for myself now. I'm just like, ugh, it hurts. I don't know. But I'll go do it for someone else. Don't make no sense. 27. I am scared for the future, but I'm even more scared of my past coming back, or for me relapsing into my past and the ways that I came from. I think everyone's scared of the future to a point, as far as, especially now that I'm right there on the precipice of moving on into the next chapter of my life. Like, I'm about to be a graduate, with a college degree. And so what's next after that? Like, because I don't know what's coming next, I'm scared. And I know we everyone that's ever hit that milestone and are moving on to something different, whether it's better or not, has that fear of the unknown. But as much as I'm scared to take the next step, I know I have to if I want to continue on with my self-improvement, being the best me that I can. I have to do it. But like I said, I'm even more scared when I turn around and look how far I came, and to know that I've gotten this far. It would kill me if I had to go back down to where I started at, especially knowing what I know now, that it is possible. I can do this. I have done this. I'm successful at doing this. If you would have told me 2 to 3 years ago that I was going to not only be in college, but to be successful in college, to be about to walk across the stage to get my degree, and also to be a part of all these different clubs and activities, and for people to know me, and even to a point of looking up to me, like, wow, look how much she's doing. I actually had someone here recently saying, I look up to you, Roxanne. You're such a strong person. I look up to you so much. I know that if you can do it, so can I. And it floored me, because I'm just doing my own thing here, and to know that I had an impact on someone else, Like, that was profound to me. And I would just like, it almost made me cry because it was just like, you don't realize people are watching. And I'll just leave it at that. You really got to pay attention on how you act and how you treat people and just how you handle yourself in different situations. And even if you do get a little bit of is prestige the right word? Like, you get a little bit of attention, positive attention, I might say. Don't let it go to your head. I always constantly joke. You see my page name is Queen Bee, a royal disaster. Everyone says, oh, there's the queen of the college, and I laugh and I joke and I'm like, you better believe it, I am the queen. But at the end of the day, I am just so humble about it. Like, if y'all only knew my backstory. And one of these days I'm going to sit down and I'm going to talk to you about it. And I thought I was going to put some of it into this. I had started to, and then I had to rip the page out because I was like, no, that's not what I want this video to turn into. This is supposed to be a fun little lighthearted little 34 things about me kind of thing, So, but just, people are watching whether you realize it or not. And so just remember that. So my next one is 28. And it is, I have a desire to want to travel and visit all 50 states. And then from there, I want to go on and travel the world. I have not done no traveling at all. Okay, so I was born and raised in Florida my whole life, up until the age of 6 years ago. So I'm 34, so 28? I just did math. Whoop, whoop. Anyways, so up until the 20 age, I never traveled. We would come up here when I was younger, and my dad and mom would go on their little vacations. It was always up here. So I went to North Carolina. I've traveled to North Carolina, and I've traveled to Alabama, where my sister lives. But besides that, I hadn't traveled nowhere else. Well, I went through shortly a little bit of South Carolina, but that was only to get to North Carolina. There wasn't actually no stopping and visiting. It was driving through, I think I went to Georgia one time when I was younger up here, but that was only because we got lost. A whole bunch of us, the family, was in a couple cars together, and we were going somewhere. I forget where we were going. And we got lost. It ended up in the outskirts of Virginia or something like that. And then that's when we were like, yeah, we're lost. And we had to turn around and find our way back. That don't count either. But since being here in the college, I've been able to experience a lot. We do a lot of traveling, and so that's been very fun, But besides that, I haven't traveled anywhere out west or even central, I've been to Texas. I haven't been to anywhere like that. My dream place to go to is Alaska. I've always wanted to go to Alaska and see the Northern Lights. It's on my bucket list 100%, is that's where I want to go. So we're going to move on because this video is already 47 minutes long. If y'all are still sticking by with me, thank you. So number 29 is my very first job was at Wendy's in Okeechobee, Florida when I turned 16. The very day that I turned 16, I had Daddy take me out and put in applications because that was like a rite of passage to get your first job, And I put an application in at Wendy's, and that very same day I got a call back to come in for my interview. And I think a couple days later I started working, but that was my very first job, was working in fast food at Wendy's. And I loved it. I really did. It was hard. It was something new, and I liked it a lot. Number 30, we're winding it up here, guys. Number 30, I feel I have extremely good intuition. I get strong vibes about people, and I am seldom wrong about that. And I've learned to trust my intuitions as I've gotten older. And I think most people can relate that. The vibes and the aura that people give off when you first meet them are seldom wrong. And so that's just like that old saying, trust your gut, I do believe that. There's certain people you can meet and just right away you're just like, oh, this is my soulmate. Like, this person, we just connect so good. And that's one thing I will say about me and Matt, is that we connected from day one, and even to this day. Like, that is my best friend forever. I love Matt. Matt, I love you. Speaking of which, his birthday is January 31st. So he is going to be 30, the big 30, in a couple days. So help me wish Matt a happy birthday. Don't make me sing to you. 31. I've never been to any real kind of concert before at all. Growing up as a preteen, and even a teenager, and even to this day, I've always been a diehard Backstreet Boys fan. Anyone that knew me back then knew that I was obsessed with them. Like, I even carried a Trapper Keeper around with, like, their pictures in it and just bios about them, and I was obsessed. Look at me, I'm blushing as a 34-year-old adult woman about the Backstreet Boys. I love them. And now they're all grown with families of their own and kids, and they're still fine. I still love them. 32, I've never been on a vacation before, and going with my family does not count. I've never been on a road trip with friends, like going somewhere or going, to a beach house or anything like that. Maybe sometime soon, 33, I love horror movies. I am a I don't know what word I was about to say, but I don't think it's going to be a good one. I am a horror fan. There we go. I love horror movies, especially some of the older stuff. A lot of the newer stuff is just so predictable. I'm just like, I see it coming. Like, you can see the plot coming. I like to be scared in movies, not in real life. Like, don't go and try to, like, pull pranks on me, because I don't like that. I don't like that mess. But in movies, I like to be scared, And I've always loved horror movies, even when let me rephrase that. When I was little, I liked them, but then it would give me nightmares, so I didn't like them. Does that make sense? And then I learned, even to this day, if I watch something that's really scary or really freak me out, I have to watch something funny right afterwards to get my mind, right before I go to bed. But I love horror movies. And number 34, we are finally to the end. Number 34, fact about me, since I am 34 years old today, is I might be dubbed Queen Bee, but honestly, I'm just a hot mess, all wrapped up in a gorgeous exterior. Don't we all at the end of the day? That made no sense. Aren't we all at the end of the day? How about that? We're all a hot mess. We can try to say we have our lives together, especially with the help of social media. We're able to capture just the good parts of our life, the little flashy points here and there, and be like, ooh, look at me, on vacation. Ooh, I'm having a good hair day. Look at my outfit. Ooh, I went out with my friends last night. But honestly, we're all a hot mess. We're all in it together. I just planned I said when we're all in this together, it made me think of the High School Musical song. We're all in this together. Now y'all see why I don't sing out loud. I love y'all. I thank y'all so much for tuning in. As always, like, share, and subscribe to my video. I cannot express enough how much it meant to me to hear from each and every one of y'all that have posted and called me and sung to me. I was very much serenaded today, and I enjoyed it so much. I love y'all so much. Like, share, and subscribe to my page. We have made it up to a total of 9 subscribers. Now listen, we got to work on this. 9 subscribers. If I'm getting 50 plus views on my posts, I should have more than 9 subscribers. It does not cost nothing to subscribe to my post, to my channel. And until next time, I will see y'all again, but it's my birthday. Bye, y'all.